Well, here we are again. Welcome to Cocktails and Conversations. Child, please. Episode 2. Got some real music today. Discovered that I could just go with the Colorado artists and give them some play. So I'm so excited about that. I have two beautiful ladies with me today. With us being in Women History Month, I wanted to indulge upon the topic of Women's History Month topic, and just really figure out what's behind a Black woman's smile. Oftentimes, you see us smile, and we may have been crying just 5 minutes ago, or you see us smile, and we may be dealing with a health issue, a personal issue, kid issues, any type of issue. And I just really want to address the mental, emotional, and physical health of not only us as a people, but as a black women as a whole. And so I'm going to start out with a excerpt of a poem from that was written by Ty Gray, and we're gonna try not to cry during this episode. I'm like, I just did my lashes, redid them. So let's please. But if it comes, it comes. Because once again, we just keep it 1,000 around here. So I'm gonna play this excerpt, and then we're gonna start with our conversation.
That woman smile you have. She since 1619, when we came in chains, the entire world's been messing with her brain, disrespecting her, calling her out of her name. She's tired, just plain Fannie Lou Hamer tired. Tired of being called B words and H words and N words and other words and everything except the child of God that she is. But the one thing in this world that will make a black woman smile is her man, a real man. If you're doing what you're supposed to do, she will smile. She will smile regularly and gladly. So man up, my brother, man up and make your woman smile. Treat her like the queen that she is. She deserves it. And recognize this: in all of God's creation, there is nothing more alluring, more appealing, or attractive. Nothing more beautiful, nothing more charming, more charismatic, or captivating. There's nothing more delightful, nothing more elegant or exquisite. There's nothing more fascinating. There's nothing more inspiring, intoxicating, or invigorating. There is nothing more magnificent, nothing more lovely than a black woman's smile.
All right, now say that. So yeah, once back to it, I invited these two ladies from we all come from, different epigenetics, and just to get the perspective of the different topics of discussion today, I invited them. And the first thing that I want to start out with is something that a sociologist came up with, just so happened to be what I am, or what my degree is in. So they say that people have to have three main places or spaces in their lives. So the first place is home. The second is work or school. And then the third is a social place where you can gather and socialize and, find a sense of community. We all know dealing with the pandemic, it was extremely difficult to come back to a space where you did find that respite and that peace. And I just want to start out asking you guys, I guess we could start with you, Neil, asking you where your third uh, place is. and where you find a sense of community and normalization outside of
Um,
work. And
I would say outside of home and work, it would be church. Um, Church, I make part of my lifestyle. We get up to go to work and we say, "Oh, I'm tired," but we still have to clock in. That's how I look at going to church every week is I get up tired. I don't say, "Oh, I'm not going to go today." I make it a part of my routine, part of my life. And when I don't go, it makes me feel like I'm missing out on something that week or I'm missing out. It throws my whole week off. So I would have to say it would be church.
what about you, Tiff?
Um, Usually I am with my brother and my niece.
And that's just like your safe place and your whatever. Yeah, and for
Yeah.
yeah, for me, yeah, everybody knows I'm like a little social butterfly, so you might find me in the streets or at an event or at my daughter's game supporting her or doing something she's doing. Who knows? But I'm always somewhere. The friendly skies is my friend. I like to travel and get away and just, you know, find a little bit of peace away from here. So, going into the next question is like about how you, they're saying like a lot of Black women, you know, are going around like high functioning depression almost. And just want to know how you're handling, you know, if you're dealing with loneliness, being a single woman without any kids or with the kids that you raised or a spouse or a lack of a spouse or companionship. Just how do you give yourself self love and handle the stress and the outlet of. So we'll start with Neil again. And
That's so it's kind of a difficult question because I feel like as you know, I've worked been working two jobs pretty much as long as I've been a mother. I'll take a break here and there, and this has been my longest stretch. And I think probably 80% of my time is working. And so I don't have a lot of that alone time to sit down and think, wow, I'm lonely. Wow, I've been single for this many years, or what I'm missing. I think that I really hide behind my work. And
mm,
the days that I do have off, that's when I kind of realize, like, wow, you've been single all these years. I've gotten numb to it. You know how
mm,
I just don't have enough time in a day to realize that it's just me. My kids are grown, I have grandkids. They bring me a lot of joy, but I think a lot of times I wrap my life around working. And then when I'm not working, like you, I'm with friends and family and socializing. I stay so busy. I've never just sat down and realized what I'm missing. Am I really taking care of me, or am I staying busy so that I don't have to think about the sadness, the loneliness? Um, I honestly just think that I don't really know. I don't know if I'm hiding behind something because I stay so busy.
hmm and so like it sounds like the quality of life. um and I think we all have to come to a consensus and come to an environment where not only you're pouring back into yourself, like the days that you're off or something, if you like to go get your feet done or your nails done or a massage, like you have to have something to show for the hard work that you're, you know, giving to these people. And I don't know if you've ever been laid off from work or whatever, but I think my perspective changed for employers and, just kind of giving my all to them because it's like you can always be replaced, but you can't be replaced. Like you as an individual, as a person, to the people that love you and to the people that want you around. And so, there's nothing more that I could give you than to say, whenever or however, even if you are looking for your purpose, if you like to craft, if you like to, whatever it is that you enjoy doing, I just kind of really challenge you to find something that brings you joy and brings you peace and brings you and honey, don't get me started with the men and the and the that and the but I mean there's no doubt in my mind that companionship is important, and I know you and I know your heart and I know that you are so loving and that you deserve love just as much as anybody else. And I just pray that you do find a balance and you find a happy medium, because working all of our lives and not having, the quality of life, like when the wheels drop, the wheels drop. And, you got to have memories. You have to have things to look forward to. And I know you like to travel as well and do a lot of stuff too. So, I'm gonna just shut up and let Tiff answer the question. I know it's a loaded question. If you need me to repeat it, let me know.
Listen, it's just every day is every day. I just feel like since I graduated from high school, I kind of worked and went to school all at the same time. You know what I mean? Um, and kind of transferred. And I feel like life just changes. Every day is about what you make it. I have good days and bad days. You know what I mean? And do I get lonely? Sometimes. But I feel like at the same time, you know what I mean? You could always do something. I have pity parties every now and again. I like to cry in the tub. But I'm determined, like once I get out of that tub, it's over with. I always say I
Amen.
wash the day off once a day. So once I take that bath, once I get out of that tub, like it's on to the next, whatever that may be. And maybe that's just how I get over or under, or whatever you want to call it. But it works for me. You know what I mean?
And that, at the end of the day, that's the key thing is, I think we all get into a funk, or, it is no escaping that. And when you do, it's how you get out of it, and it's how you overcome and how you persevere and, achieve the next steps in life, or the next focus in life. And, by, just speaking from your perspective and not having kids, I always heard, like they said, single people, the people without the kids and the people without the husbands are the happiest. So I think that's interesting to hear, your perspective on, do getting to that point where you can be lonely, or you can be, in a rut. It's just a normal thing, or you
Yeah,
can be, yeah.
I just feel like what is happy? What is your happiness though? You know what I mean? Like I am privileged to not deal with the madness. My niece is a terrorist though, but I love kids. Like low key, high key. I like kids a lot. You know what I mean? And one day, I'll be a good mom someday. But Yeah, I promise. I enjoy waking up and not
Hmm.
having to. Um, and sometimes I enjoy seeing what it's like to have to do that. You know what I mean? And I enjoy her, but I do enjoy to come home and not have to. And I mean, I guess
Hmm.
it's just a decision you have to make. And I always feel like it's a decision just because I don't want to do it by myself. And
Mm-mm.
I
Girl, you
even if
sure
it's
don't.
not by yourself, like even when there's a second person, if there's not a unit, you know what I mean? That's really not a family. Um and that's something that I feel like at the end of the day, if I have to narrow down being alone, or and sometimes when you say being alone, I mean that has two different meanings too. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not always about just having a husband, you know what I mean? Like it takes a relationship. I feel like that's sometimes what people miss. And everybody you date ain't your husband or you're meant to be husband. Every relationship isn't meant to be a whole year, 5 years, 6 years. And maybe one day you might meet somebody and it might be 3 months. I don't ask me because as you can see, I'm probably not the right person to ask. However, you know what I mean? I just feel like one day, someday, however, but you just gotta wait till that time comes. Don't rush. People want to rush and
Yes.
you got to take your time.
And to piggyback on Tiffany, what has happened is I've been married twice, and I probably was lonelier in both of those marriages than I am now. So sometimes when you
Wow.
have in a relationship, doesn't always mean that you're happy all the time. It doesn't always mean that you're not lonely. There's a lot of people, especially now, we have so many relationships out there where people are in a relationship just because they need help. You find a lot of people that, with the world like it is now, everybody needs more of a companionship for financially.
Mm.
And so you have a lot of unhealthy relationships out there, and everyone's single is not always lonely, and everyone's married is not always not lonely.
Hmm.
And so we have to
Yeah.
realize that.
Yep. And like social media and stuff like that is tomfoolery. Um, and that has a lot to do with the mental state of man and woman too. Like we can't just be online looking at, what Tom, Dick, and Harry is doing. Like, who gives a shit? Um,
Yeah.
it internalize what you're doing to grow you and to build you and to get to the next level. To me, that's always a plight and a fight. Like I've been a Facebook hater since Facebook
Yes.
since Facebook came out, and I'm like, oh, it's the devil. But being in trying to get in the industry, the podcast and the social media stuff, like I really have no choice. I still ain't on Facebook. I'm on Instagram and stuff like that now, but I'm still being a hater. So yeah, y'all gonna have to tell Club Shay Shay to plug send it send this video to Club Shay Shay and tell him to plug us, okay? Because so we can get a check. And like what I really want to do is you know have women come together and almost like a retreat and really pay for it and just really dive into the different things that we have to deal with, and get people to exercise. Like that's another thing. Like it's not the most favorite thing that I like to do on a regular, but I do realize that that does allow for different stressors to be released and the endorphins and the toxins and like Tiff said with the bath, I indulge in those too, girl. Like feels good. So we'll go right on into the next thing. Like I guess more or less and you kind of touched on it, Neil, is how even in a relationship you didn't feel the happiest or whatever. So, ultimately you've forgiven yourself, for that sort of thing, and whatever upbringing you had or traumas and different things that you've had to deal with, you've found a way to overcome those, what it sounds like.
Yes.
And
Yeah, a lot of it is, I do believe that a lot of um, things that we go through is because of our childhood, our upbringing. Um, I've always, from growing up as a little girl, I've always looked at a male as a negative because, as you know, as a 7-year old, my mom was killed by her ex-boyfriend. So that's
mm,
what, growing up, I feared men for a long time. Um, Even with my grandmother raising us, my grandfather wasn't in the home probably 80% of the time. So to me, being a hardworking single mom looked more normal than being a wife and
mm,
having a husband that paid the bills and did everything. That didn't look normal to me because I've honestly have never seen it. My mom and dad divorced when we were little, one, two, and three, my sister and brother, because of domestic violence. That's another male that showed me negative, probably the first
mm,
male. And the sad part of it is I've never been brought up by a man that did what he was supposed to do as far as take care of his family, love his wife, not put hands on a woman.
mm,
I've had, going through this journey, I've had some amazing uncles that, have showed a big part in my life. And then I had mentors like pastors in the church, deacons in the church that helped me when it came to raising my kids. And that's when I started learning that, okay, there is some decent men out there, but in my own personal walk, I've had a lot of negative male role models than
mm,
positive. And so being a single mom and out there working hard is really all I know. To me, that's more normal than being in a healthy marriage and not having to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week to survive and take care of your children, keep a roof over your head. You make sure your children are eating, getting them back and forth to school and getting them to practice. That was normal to me.
mm.
And just doing research and meeting other ladies that didn't have to go through what I went through made me realize, there is some healthy, good men out there. I have not been blessed enough to be blessed with one of those men.
Yeah, girl, that's deep and touching. And that's why I bought this group together. Once again, to get the specifics and the, perspective from each of us. And I too, like, my story's not your story, but I lost my dad when I was 12. So same thing. I never had that male figure to tell me that this dude ain't shit. This dude ain't shit. It was just kind of like a test by test basis, to get to where I am today. And I miss that. And I feel like I miss that. But to overcome that and to get to a place where you are okay with, being okay and accepting that, yes, this set of circumstance did happen to me and in my life, but that doesn't have to be the stay all final and, the end game. There's something more out there. There's something for me, there's something for you, and we never know what God's plan is. We all have a want to, have the trajectory of our life the way we want to have it. Do this, 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 and this. And I feel like as we grow, um, you just become more susceptible to the right thing. You know what's right and what's wrong. You know what you will and will not accept. You vibrate at a higher level. And, like we're not just having episodes of Freaknik, because that's what we did in our 20s and, like playing around and just like it's a serious deal right now. And everybody, wants to find that happy medium and that, know true love. I feel like everybody deserves to know what love is at least once in a lifetime. So, how you feeling over there, Tiff? That's
uh, I mean, well, it's the opposite for me. You know what I mean? Fortunately, I have my mom and dad still, thankfully. However, my dad was a real, is, not was, and always will be a real man, is what I call him. You
mm,
know what I mean? Like, he doesn't say much. You'll always know his disappointments, though. You know what I mean? Like he had, like you said, there's things we knew, aspects of respect, things of that nature. My mom, same, had a lot of morals in the church. Uh, and again, they're still together, and I feel like that's half of where I come from. I can honestly say I have been in love. And it's different though. I was in love when I was young. But
mm,
in that stage, when I thought I was in love, it was all about that. You had a husband, you had a wife, and you were a ride or die. Like that's where I come from, that little era where
mhm,
you are a ride or die chick. So things happen, you work through it. But after so long, you grow up,
mhm,
um, and things have to change, and that's it, that's all. And it takes two people to love. So that's where the compromising comes in. You know what I mean? They'll do things to change if that's where they want to be. And that's what I mean about rushing and things that happen. And it takes a while sometimes, like as you guys were saying, like when you go through things, you have to heal through things too,
mhm.
and it'll make you change what you will and will not do. Like you said, I double that. That's just the problem. It's just things you will and will not do. So um I guess there's just lines. Like you said, everybody has to make decisions on what makes them happy. And you have to define your own happiness. Sometimes I feel like that's the problem. You can't live off my happiness because I can't live off yours. So what's going on over here shouldn't necessarily make anybody feel good or bad. You know what I mean? Because my joy is what I make it. So I feel like that's where people have to understand it's not a soap opera, it's every day. So you have to prepare for the next one, and hope the good things drop in.
Yeah, I agree. And that's all part of growth. And more, just even from the childhood traumas and dealing with them and, doing the work within yourself and the shadow work and just really standing up for yourself, because we have to stand up for ourselves on so many levels at work, at, in the streets, at play, in dating, all of the above.
Right.
I'm just now learning, in my 40s to say no. Because for so long, I'm still the go-to. Like, oh, you don't know how to do it, call Chanel. You don't want to do it, call Chanel. What do you mean? Like, there's nobody else, and like a lot of my cousins and stuff moved away from home. And I initially moved away from home too, but came back home and I'm like, damn, it's a setup. But By them being away, everything falls back in the responsible person's lap. And it becomes, depleting, and it just kind of sucks the life out of you. And I just really had to find my peace and protect my peace. And I still to this day have to do so. And with friendships, with people, and just everything, just protecting that peace is important. Because oftentimes as women, we just wear all these hats and we just, try to show up for everybody. But you have to show up for yourself. Because if you ain't right, if you ain't healthy, you can't do much of nothing for nobody else. So that's where I'm
Right.
at. That's where I'm at today. And, just trying to embody the femininity because, like, Amelia, like you grew up where you didn't see men in the household and you grew up around strong willed, church going, Bible toting women that, took care of everything and they wasn't going to take no crap and
Yeah.
whatever else. So then if you meet somebody and they're like, oh my God, you're so rough and you're so you're so tough. Like you got to understand that I am in the process of unlearning, that particular behavior and that particular aspect of my life because I've had to do it. I've had to be the man. I hammered the pictures on the wall. You understand me? Like I probably picked up some furniture and helped move it in and, on and on and on and on. So, with that being said, how do you guys deal with, do you ever get the chance to embody your femininity and just really be a woman, although you wore all these hats?
Um, repeat that question, Chanel. I'm having a hard time.
How do you how do you embody your femininity, or have you ever even had to? Did you, has it never even been an issue? You've always been able to, be a woman, you know, or have you always had to just play both roles and be the
Both
dad, the
parents.
mom? Yeah.
Um, I've of course, I've always been a single mom of two. Um, my kids knew their fathers, so I didn't necessarily. I never really had that discussion with my kids. Like, I'm both mom and dad. They just knew mom was doing everything. That's how they looked at it. It's like we know our mom is the one that made sure we had everything, made sure we went to school, made sure we had lunch money, bought us our first cars, made sure we graduated, got us through college. We never, they know their fathers were missing, but they know their fathers. So I
Hmm.
never said, oh, I'm mom and dad. I always just kept it as I'm mom and I do everything. I mean, I pretty much do everything for them. We be honest, we never even had that discussion. The older they've gotten, they realize mom did everything. So I've never actually had that
Have
discussion
you
with them.
ever dated somebody, to where you weren't as soft, because you had to play both of those roles, or you couldn't
Um,
be as soft because you were used to being playing that
and
mom role?
so, which is strange. So I got married the first time at 21, which was my first marriage. And then as soon as I got divorced, I went into another marriage at 28. And then I got divorced um, early 30s. And to be honest with you, Chanel, I haven't had a relationship since the two marriages. I've had friends, what they call it, maybe friends with benefits or a friend here and there. but I have not been in a relationship since my last two marriages. And I'm not even sure where to even begin with that because I've made the life that I have now normal for me. And kind of like what Tiffany said, it's kind of, I'm, from what I know, I'm in a happy place because I've made it a happy place.
Mm,
When I actually sit down and like listen to us and talk, I would have to say that I would want to be in another relationship, another marriage, but I'm not doing anything to work towards that. I'm just living my life, which I know a lot of people say, well, you're not going to get in a relationship if you don't try, if you don't go try to date, if you don't put yourself out there. So I don't know. I think that's something that I have to think about. If I really
mm,
want it, what am I going to do about getting to that point? Or am I going to be like this the rest of my life and just live my life? If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I've came to the point I'm okay. I'm okay if I don't ever get in another relationship. I'm okay if I don't meet Mr. Right. I've learned to live just being me, just being the only woman, being the mom, doing it by myself. It's become a comfort zone for me.
mm.
And I don't know if that's good or bad, to be honest.
I mean, the good thing is if you're at peace, and if you are in a happy space, then that is what it is. But I do believe that by you doing, the things that you enjoy doing and doing the things that you want to, it's not, we never are supposed to be going out looking for Mr. Right or Mr. Wrong, but as far as, you know, mingling and putting yourself out there and meeting people, in different aspects and capacity, that's a whole nother thing. Or even if somebody that knew somebody and kind of hooked you up with somebody that was single, if it came together that type of way. But I totally understand what you're saying, like you're in a safe you're in a safe place and you're content, where you are. And if it comes to you, it comes to you. If it don't, it don't. But you always, as long as you remain positive, as long as you remain in a good space, and who knows, eventually it just may show up for you, just like any of us, and it's not like we're the only ones dealing with this. I have girlfriends on the East Coast, Texas, even Texas, that it's just slim pickings. Like we're in it's a new day. It is a new day and a new day and age. And you know, you just have to take each day as it comes, and deal with it. So, I applaud you and commend you. But I do hope that somebody come along so you could not have to work so hard and get your feet
I know.
rubbed every now and then and stuff like that. So, what about you, Tiff? Have you ever, like, your femininity and having to deal with, well, you can, I mean, growing up in a two-person household and seeing that love, like you probably really don't even have to be hardcore. You could just, you tell me.
Actually, I was a tomboy for a long, long time. But it was all good. I just like sports a lot, and where I come from, you know what I mean? It's just real small, not a lot of black people. And I shouldn't say that because we have black people that come in and out because, it's a military base. So,
Mm,
but at the same time, they come and they go. So I grew up as a tomboy, really. I really didn't know about being a girl until I got to Colorado, and it took a while. And I feel like there's still some things that at the end of the day, I'm a little rough around the edges, but again, I think that's just because of where I came from and what you've been through. So you just put up certain walls, if that's
Mm.
if that makes sense. But at the same time, that's what I mean when I say relationships ain't meant to make it a year. Like, I can't say I've talked to no one, but it's been far few and in between. Um, and I am not afraid to break up. That comes real easy for me, I feel like. And I'm not dramatic, like I'm probably not gonna cut up no clothes or I seen some the other day where she put some peanut butter in the sneaker, and I was like, man, if I had have known that 20 years ago, you know what I
What does
mean?
that
Like,
do? What do the peanut butter in?
they can't, because now they can't wear them. I don't know, girl, but I was cracking up. So, like I said, maybe that's just another thing too. When you don't have children, and I don't need my rent paid, there's a time when I struggle, but I feel like that's what makes me another person too. Like, I'll grind, I work, I go to
Mhm.
work every day. You know what I mean? I don't call in sick. Um, there's just things that I feel like I made decisions to do in my life that allows me to do what I do. You know what I mean? Which comes with sacrifice. I don't go out every weekend because I pay a lot for where I live. You know what I mean? But my home is my peace. Um, and say, I promise you, I will be getting out some day. But that is on my to-do list. But sometimes it's just sacrifice. And if I have to choose one or the other, it's easy to choose for me.
Mhm.
Um, because my home is my peace. So that's it. It's just like you said, I think lifestyles are just so different, but at the same time the struggle is real. I don't get
Mhm.
any support either, and don't get me wrong, I always have my mom and dad, but there's an age bracket for that too, you know.
Mhm.
I gotta save that for emergencies. Real
Mhm.
talk. Because my mom and dad will be there for me. That's something that I can depend on. And getting older, you got to look at the bigger picture. And I do have a little brother and a niece now, and just like you said,
Mhm.
Chanel, I don't know if it's so much determined, but it is what it is because we're quite a few years apart. You know what I mean? So I am the
Mhm.
oldest. Um, And it's kind of funny. His daughter told him the other day, "You can't tell my Titi what to do." And she looked at me and he looked at me and I said, "I know that's right. Right. I'm the only one he can't tell him what to do." We be cracking up. But I think that's another thing. It's just me and him. And I didn't like him for a long time till we got
Okay.
older. Because we were so far apart. You know how that
Yeah.
goes. But now
Mhm.
he's my best friend. And maybe that's the difference too. He is a male figure in my life. Um, so I get to see a lot of things, even with him being the youngest and having babies. But don't get it twisted. I mean, life ain't all gravy just because I don't have the extra headaches.
Girl.
Because I have my own headaches. I promise. I have my own good hard headaches.
Yes. I believe it and I receive it. Like I was telling my little cousins, they're new to this parenthood thing. And so I told them, I said, "Oh, don't worry about it. Your vocabulary will change to three words by the time the kid turns about, 13, 14 months. Only thing you'll be saying is shut up, stop, no." Like, and I'll be damned if she didn't laugh and call me and say, "Oh my God," like all I say is shut up, no, stop. Like that's all I say. I'm like, I told you. So yeah, I mean, kids, they they could bring joy, they could bring pain. And one thing that I always say about kids is like, you really never know what you're gonna get. You can raise them to the highest esteem, give them everything, and they turn out to be little assholes. And then you can raise them, you know, and they go through a bunch of stuff and they could turn out and be great, or, vice versa. So I mean, it's definitely a work in progress. The single mom thing, I don't wish on nobody. It never was supposed to be like that for me. In particular, I was supposed to marry my daughter's dad and this and that. And, he was still doing unmentionable things, after I had her. So it just didn't work out. But she's a great kid overall. I just had to go off on her last night. That's the thing, the up and down, up and down. Like your blood pressure go up, your blood pressure go down. But even as a single person, your blood pressure go up and down. Whether it's work, whether it's life in general, driving, um, whatever. So I just want to, close out with you ladies and say, today is a new moon. And so me and my spiritual self and my, you know, um, like it's out with the old and in with the
Right.
new. So even tonight, if you just love on yourself, or when we get off the phone, whatever it is that you want to do, take that bath and cry and release, and just put out intentions of what it is that you want. You too, Neil. Put the intention
I
out
am.
there if you really want to have that special person. And just embrace yourself and love on yourself. And we can go on and on talking about, you know, the physical, mental, emotional capacities of a woman, but how we embody that strength and how we show up for ourselves every day is what it all boils down to. And standing up for ourselves. Like I remember even in work for a long time, I used to let shit slide. And now it's like, honey, you better not say two or three or few words to me, okay? Because you can catch it in this suit. So yeah, that's where I'm at today. Like I'm proud of what you guys are doing, and I certainly appreciate your time because you could have been anywhere in the world tonight, but you just love me, and I appreciate you being here and sharing yourself and your time with me. And so, yeah, when we do make it to Club Shay Shay, y'all gonna send the link to that. When we do make it on that level, we will get a chance to turn this into something progressive and really just bring a community of women together. I want to help the kids. I want to help everybody. Little baby Oprah over here. But anyway, so in closing thoughts, I just want to, both of you to say something, in closing or motivating to the women out there, that may have gone through or going through something similar that you have seen or been through. And I'll do the same. And we are done.
I just want to say first, thank you, Chanel, for giving us the opportunity to even come on here and talk about this topic because I think it's a very important topic. And the best advice I can give to women in general is um, I do know that anything is possible with putting God first. I That's who's been my strength. That's who's helped me raise my kids. I tell people all the time, as long as I have God on my side, I can do anything in this world. And that's the best advice I can give pretty much everyone, but especially women, is keep putting God first. Everything else is going to follow.
Amen. Receive that. Miss T.
Yeah, thanks for listening. I appreciate you wanting to hear what I have to say. You know what I mean? Little bit of pressure. I don't like pressure, but we work through it. And all I can say is keep your head up and don't forget to wash the day off every day. And just look forward to the next day because there's really nothing you could do but make a plan, good or bad day. Just make a plan for the
Mhm.
next day and try your best to stick to it. That's it.
I love that. Wash off the day. Wash off the
Mm.
day. I promise you, there not no women out there not like no damn water. Now that's a whole nother. That's gonna be on about episode 5. Okay, after we finish the series on relationships, women and hygiene. Okay, okay, ladies.
I'm
Yes.
dead.
So again, I appreciate you. I thank you. My advice to the women out there: just keep fucking going. Keep going. You know, keep your head on a swivel at all times, and pray, hustle, shine. That's my motto and my mantra. So with that being said, God bless you. You guys, thank you for coming out. Like, subscribe, and share the channel. Um, Pray, hustle, shine. Cocktails and conversations, part 2. We're gonna keep going and going and going. Again, like, subscribe, and share the channel. Thank you for your time, and you guys have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
It's just me, private and we made it through.